When you look at the title, it says Al-Asma. Al-Asma. Al-Asma is the plural of Al-Ism. Al-Ismu, which means a name. Okay? And usually when you go a little bit deeper, when they say Al-Ism, they divide the meaning into two. They say the actual root word of Ism is from the word Sima. Sima means alama, a sign. Like I have 3 children. I name one Muhammad. I name other one Ali. These names is to put a sign so I know difference between A and B. So that is where the word comes from. So that you can tell the difference between the two of them. So that is where the word Sima comes from. Some scholars say no, it came from the word Sumo. And Sumo means Ulu, al-Buruz, meaning when you name something, it becomes clear to the other people to know. But when something doesn't have name, it's like hidden. Naming something, it makes it obvious to other people. They say that's where the word ism comes from. But that's not our point. The point is that in Arabic, they divided al-ism into 2. The nouns are divided into 2. Now, what is it? Let me erase this and then we go to the point. They say al-asma or ism, they are divided into 2. The first one are called al-mabni. Al-mabni. Al-mabni are the names that are used in Arabic. They don't change. Regardless of what happened before or after, their end will never change. Those names are called mu'rab. For example, you say, Ja'a Musa. You say, Ra'aytu Musa. You say, Marartu. You say, the third one, Marartu bi Musa. Anything change at the end? No. Now, along with the road, let's put this aside. Now you have another say, Ja'a Muhammadu. See the end? You say, Ra'aytu Muhammada. You say, Marartu bi Muhammadi. See, the same Muhammad, it has Dhamma here, it has Fatha here, it has Kasra here. Because of these 3 things. But the same 3 things you put in front of these words, nothing changed. Now, because it doesn't change, it's called in Arabic mabni. Okay? Another example is like the word Isa. Let me erase this so we can write another one. You use the word Isa. Also the same thing. You say Ja'a Isa Ra'aytu Isa. You say Marartu bi Isa. The same thing. Nothing changed. Okay? So in Arabic there are certain words like that. They are noun. They don't change for any reason. They stay the way they are regardless where they come. Now those names, those nouns, they are called mabni. Okay? Now that's the first one. The second one is called mu'rab. That is the opposite. Mu'rab is the opposite. Al-mabni and al-mu'rab. Al-mu'rab is the opposite, which is the words that the end changes for many reasons, like Muhammad. Okay? Like you see, Ja'a Muhammadu, Ra'aytu Muhammada, Marartu bi Muhammadi. Here, because this one takes changes, it's called Mu'arab. The nouns that don't take changes, they are called mabni. I don't know if it's clear.
Right.
Is it clear? Okay. Now let's go to the book and see the details. That is the actual lesson of today. Now it says here, unchangeable and changeable nouns. Unchangeable is called al-mabni, the one that doesn't change at all. It says here, nouns are generally divided into two groups. In Arabic, nouns are divided into two. A is called mabni, unchangeable nouns, meaning the nouns that the end of it doesn't change regardless of what happens. Something happened before it, in the middle, at the end, it doesn't change. It stays the way it is. Those nouns are called mabni. Okay, that is number one.
And
yes.
the reason is because they are not Arabic words. That's why it's not affected.
Some of them, yes. Some of them, that's one of the reasons, yes. Okay, so these nouns are not influenced by any word or situation. Some word come before it, like ba. We say be, when it comes, when it does, it has effect in the noun, right? You say billahi, right? Bi Muhammad di. So it has to have an effect. But those mabni, nothing will have effect in them. They stay the way they are regardless of what happened before them. Okay? They stay in the original form whether they are subject, object, or are preceded by a preposition. Now, example of those names is like huwa. Huwa is a noun too, right? Now this huwa, it doesn't change whatsoever. It doesn't matter where you bring it. In the beginning, in the middle, at the end, it stays huwa. Okay? For example, you say qul huwa Allahu ahad. In the middle, it doesn't change. Another ayah, Allahu la ilaha illa huwa. It doesn't change. Huwa Allahu alladhi la ilaha illa huwa al-hayyul qayyum. It doesn't change whatsoever. Meaning, the way it is, it's going to stay the way it is. No, nothing can cause it to change. That's what's called mabni. That is example number one.
Why is not?
Yes, that's mabni.
It's a pronoun.
Yes. So it doesn't change as well. The second one, an example is hum. Also, it doesn't change. Okay? Hum fiha khalidun. You can see that in example in the Quran in so many places. Whether it comes in the beginning, in the middle, at the end, it doesn't change. It stays hum. Whether something come before it or something didn't happen, it doesn't change as well. Another example, the third one is dhalika. Okay? Dhalika al-kitabu la rayba fi. Dhalika min anba'il ghayb. Allah is talking to the Holy Prophet. Those also doesn't change. The fourth one, ulaika. Okay? Also, it doesn't change. Another one is alladhi. It doesn't change as well. It also stays the way it is all the time. And then allati. Okay, also doesn't change. So number one, huwa, hum, dhalika, ulaika, alladhi, allati. They all don't change regardless of the situation. Yes?
The feminine of these, like dhalika,
Yes,
they
tilka.
don't change, right?
They don't change either, yes. In other words, let me put it this way. Pronouns, they don't change.
They don't change.
Yes, because he's giving an example of pronouns right now. Okay? Huwa, huma, hum, they don't change. They stay the way they are. That is here also the same thing. Yes. All pronouns, they stay the way they are. Yes. So that is that example. Now he's going to talk about some nouns. One example of the nouns is what I mentioned. Musa and Isa. They also don't change. Even though these are proper nouns, but they still don't change regardless of the situation. Now let's go to the Quran and see some of the examples that Quran used. وَفِي مُوسَى إِذْ أَرْسَلْنَا. Okay? Now look at this example. In this Quran, I believe in Surah, one of the surahs, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَفِي, look at this, وَفِي مُوسَى إِذْ أَرْسَلْنَاهُ. Right? Now look here. Fi here, if you remember in the previous lesson, we say fi when it comes before the noun, what does it do? It changes the dhamma to what? To kasra, right? We say example, you say Allahu. Right? Now you bring ba before this. What does it become? Billahi. So the who changed to what? To kasra. Now why did we change from dhamma to kasra? The reason is the ba here. Right? Good. Ba is one of the huruf al-jar. Another one is what? Fi. Right? And you read Surah Al-Nas. You say, Alladhi yuwaswisu fi suduri. Right? Now if you take fi, what do you think it will be? Suduru. Right? But because of fi, then it becomes suduri. Right? Now, okay, look, the fi here, it may change here. Now the same fi is here. What do we say? Wafi Musa. It's supposed to be, according to the grammar, Wafi Musa Yi. Right? At least, but it doesn't change that. Why? Because Musa is what? Mabni. It doesn't change because of the situation before it. Okay? So that is example number 1 in the Quran. Number 2, another example. Inna ha'ula'i la yaqulun. Now, let's go to another example of Mabni. Inna, the Quran says, Inna ha'ula'i la yaquluna. Right? See, Inna ha'ula'i la yaquluna. If you recall in the past lessons, we talk about something we call nawasib. Nawasib means certain letters, if they come before now, what they do is they change it to fatha. Okay? One of them is inna. Like you say, Allahu. Right? Now if inna comes before it, you say inna, what does it become? Ha, ahsantum. You say inna Allah, ha. Now why did it become fatha? Because of the letter inna. Right? Now the same inna comes before haula. According to the grammar, if these words, according to what we just mentioned, it should be haula. That's right. But when you look at the Quran, what did he say? Haula. Why? Because haula is mabni and it doesn't change because of anything. It stays the way it is. So anytime you see haula, it doesn't matter if it's supposed to be dhamma or fatha or kasra, it will always maintain the kasra as it is. And that's what is called mabni. That's example number 2. Number 3, it says, Inna fi hadha labalaghun. Also another example of fi. Okay? It says, Inna fi hadha. Inna fi hadha labalaghan. 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 Now look at this, the word fi here. Remember we just mentioned about fi. What does it do? When it comes before and now, it changes from dhamma to kasra. Now here the same fi comes and hadha is there. But did he make any change? No. Hadha, if you say there alone, it's going to be hadha. Right? Now inna comes before it, inna hadha. Fi comes before it, fi hadha. Nothing changes in before the. Okay? Why? Because the word hadha is mabni. It doesn't change because of the situation around it.
What's the root word of mabni?
Mabni, bina. Bina means you build it the way it is.
Independent. Okay.
Yeah, bina is the building. Meaning you build it the way it is. You cannot change it to your own way that you want the building to be. It stays the way it is. Okay? That is that example. Now it says here many more words in the Quran that do not reflect any change in any situation, indicate that they belong to the Mabni group. So in other words, anytime you have a word in Arabic, noun or pronoun, and they don't change, then you know that automatically they are Mabni. Okay? That is that one. Now number 2, we have something we call Mu'rab, which is the opposite. Mu'rab means what? Changeable. The end can change. For example, you say, as we mentioned, Muhammadu, right? Aliyu. This one they change. You say, Ja'a Muhammadu, Ja'a Ra'aytu Aliya, and Maratu bi Aliyin. This name they change. So these are called Mu'rab. So in order to make it easier, changeable is called Mu'rab, Non-changeable is called mabni. I don't know if it's clear.
Yeah.
Is it clear? Okay. Now, this here, now if this is clear, let me say this, let's go to this way, so maybe it might help to make it easier. Now, we say that every noun, right, if you call, they are either classified as mabni or they classify as what? As mu'rab. Is that clear up to here? Good. Now, this mu'rab also is divided into two. Okay? This mu'rab, some of them are called munsarif. Okay? Meaning you can say ismun, mu'rabun, munsarif. Okay? They are nouns. What does it mean munsarif? It says that fully changeable. Okay? Fully changeable. Meaning a noun that it change into three different vowels. It can change to dhamma, it can change to fatha, and it can change to kasra. If you find a noun that accepts three vowels, then it's called munsarif. Okay? Example like we say with the word Muhammadu. Sometimes you can say Muhammada. Sometimes it's Muhammadi. So since it accepts dhamma, fatha, kasra, then it's called what? Munsarif. Okay? And it's called fully because it accepts three vowels together. Okay? And then there are also the second one here, which is known as غير منصرف. غير منصرف. It's changeable, but not fully. What does it mean not fully? Some nouns, they accept dhamma and fatha and not kasra. Okay? They only accept how many? Two. This is called munsarif, but what they call mu'rab, ولكن غير منصرف, because it doesn't accept all full three vowels. So if it doesn't accept the three vowels, then we call it غير منصرف. Now let's go to example of munsarif, for example, an example of that in the book. It said munsarif means fully changeable. These nouns are influenced in all situations. If the situation of dhamma comes, they take dhamma. If the situation change to fatha, they change to fatha. If it changes to kasra, they change to kasra as well. Now this is called munsarif, okay? And it's a dhamma, kasra, or either dhammatain or kasratain or fathatain. Okay? So they can take this munsarif, they can take all these vowels. Let me say it here. They can take vowel number one. See, they can take either fatha, or they can take the kasra, or they can take dhamma, okay? Or they can take dhammatain, or they can take kasratain, or they can take fathatain. Okay? If you ever find a noun that takes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then it's called what? Munsarif. Because that's all the vowels that we have. So it's changed to all the vowels, right? That is called munsarif. Now, example, there's the word Nuh. Nuh is one of the examples. In the Quran, there are certain places you have Nuhun with the dhammatain. Sometimes Nuhan with the fathatain. Sometimes Nuhun, Nuhin with the kasratain. Example in the Quran. One example it says, إِذْ قَالَ لَهُمْ أَخُوهُمْ نُوحٌ. Nuhun, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, when Nuh said to them. Okay? So now if you look at this example, which is surah number 26, ayah 106, it says, إِذْ قَالَ لَهُمْ نُوحٌ. When Nuh told these people, right? So Nuhun here, when you look in the example, it came with the dhamma, Nuhun. Right? It had with the dhamma 10. That's example number one. Example number two, it says, وَلَقَدْ أَرْسَلْنَا نُوحًا. What he said? No. Now here, listen carefully, brothers and sisters. Now, إِذْ قَالَ لَهُمْ نُوحٌ. Why did he become Nuhun with the dhamma? Because Nuh is the actor in the sentence. إِذْ قَالَ. When he said, who said? Nuh alayhi salam. So Nuh is the one who did the action in this sentence. That's why it became fatatain. And it's called in Arabic fa'il. Qala, he said. Who did the same? Nuh alayhi salam. Now in the second one, it said Arsalna Nuhan. When we sent. Now Nuh is the object. He was sent by whom? By Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In Arabic it's called maf'ulun bihi. Meaning he was sent by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So then it became with the what? With the fathatain there. Now the third example, قوم نوح. The people of Nuh. Now Nuh was attached to Qawm. Okay? So Qawm Nuh made the Nuh to become with the kasratain. So in this example you see Nuh has Dhamma, Fatha and Kasra. Since it took the three vowels, then it's called what? Munsarif. It's called fully changeable noun. Okay? Now the other one is called غير منصرف. غير منصرف are the ones who don't take all the three. Okay? Example, it says these noun differ from the fully changeable noun in two respects. One, these do not end with the tanween. Sometimes غير منصرف, some of them they don't end with tanween. They can end with the dhamma or fatha or kasra, but they cannot end with the tanween. Okay? Or sometimes they only end with the fatha and dhamma only. Okay? Now, they end with the fatha even when the situation called for kasra. Example, let's say Fatima. The word Fatima, it can only with the two vowels only. One is dhamma and the other one is what? Is fatha. It cannot end with the kasra. For example, you say ja'a. Let's say here example. Let's say you said ja'at. See the example? The different. For Muhammad, you say ja'a without the ta because it's a masculine. For feminine, you have to put the ta. So you say ja'at Fatima 2. Right? Means Fatima came. Now you say Ra'aytu Fatima ta. Okay? Okay, here tell me the fatha. Because Fatima is the object. You saw Fatima. Good. Now when you say the third one, Marartu bi Fatima ta as well. You cannot say Fatima T. And when you read in the ziyarah that we read in the night of Qadr, if you read that, when you put the Quran, yes, you said Billahi, and then with Muhammadin, bi Aliyin. When it came bi Fatima ta, not bi Fatima T. When you read it now, inshallah, next year, pay attention careful. Don't say before, now you know. And before you say bi Fatima T, yes, that's fine, because you don't know. Now you know. And if you look in the book, they don't write the kasra there. They say bi Fatima Zahra, not bi Fatima Zahra. No, because Fatima can only take dhamma and fatha only, and not kasra. Okay? So those nouns who cannot take the all three vowels, they are called ghayru munsarif, because they don't take all three vowels completely. Now, example of those words is Ashabu Fir'aun. Okay, Ashabu Fir'auna. You say Fir'auna is one of them. Kadhabu Fir'auna. Qala Fir'aunu. See, when you say Ashabu Fir'auna, Ashabu Fir'auna means the companions of Fir'aun. It's supposed in the rule, it's supposed to be what? Ashabu Fir'auni. It's supposed to take the kasra, but Fir'aun doesn't take that vowel. So we say Fir'auna. And then Kadhabu Fir'auna. That's the fact that that's supposed to take. And then we say Qala Fir'aunu. So the Fir'aun can take only how many? Two. Dhamma and Fatha. So what do you call it? Ghayru Munsarif. That's example number one. Another example of certain words is Ulama'u. Ulama also is one of them. Maryamu is one of them. Ibrahimu also is one of them. And then Yusufu is one of them. Dawudu and Sulaiman. These nouns, they can take Dhamma and they can take Fatha, but they cannot take Kasra. They cannot take Tanween, yes. Tanween as well, yes.
Is there a rule how to determine, or these are just given nouns?
These are just given. Some of them has. Some of them has. Some of them, I'll tell you, they call them, inshallah, I don't want to confuse you. Some of them, it's because of the form, the way they were formed in Arabic. It's called, if a word comes, a noun comes, on the form like a verb, then it stops it from doing that. For example, if a noun comes like on the form of af'ala, okay, af'ala, if a word comes like this, usually af'ala, it's supposed to be this how the verb supposed to be, not the noun, right? But certain nouns, they come on this form. If they come on this form, then they cannot change also. It's called ismul fi'l, that it comes in the form of a noun, a verb. Then it stops it from becoming munsarif as well. Some of them also, there are some other reasons as well, that inshallah when we come to that point, we will clarify into detail.
So if a verb which is
Yes.
given as a noun, like name of Allah,
Yes.
those are mostly words which describe the quality of Allah.
Yes, these are nouns.
Right, so those are nouns, but they are derived from a word.
Yes.
So those fall.
Yes, if they come in the form of a verb, then it stops it from having the three vowels completely. Then they only can have only two. Okay? Unless in the narration, unless if it's attached to something, then it can change to three vowels. But if you just write by itself, it cannot have the three vowels.
One more question.
Yes.
On the proper nouns, basically we talked about that the mean is for indefinite. And when you have a definite, then you do
Alif or lam or without, yes.
But for proper nouns like no, you have the mean. Which condition do you put the mean on a proper noun?
In the proper noun, they said sometimes you put for to show the significance of it. Like sometimes you said, you know, a nakira, which is indefinite, it comes to show something that is unknown, right? Now, certain nouns, if you want to give it the importance, then you put it in the form of unknown to make it but significant or very important. That is in that situation. But it's very rare in this situation. It's not like as many as most of the names, no.
So if we put Ja Muhammadun, that's just significant?
Yeah, it puts significance, yes. Or you want to say a Muhammad that is not known also, it can be like that. Like I'm talking about Muhammad that is not known. Compared to if let's say we have two Muhammad, right? You know one and then you don't know the other one. Then I say Ja'a Muhammadun, a Muhammad came. Means it not the Muhammad that you know. So yes, that it can take the Dhammatain at that point. Okay? Good. Now, that is, I believe, the end of this lesson. So the book said these and many more words in the Quran that do not end with the tanween or indicate that they belong to غير منصرف group of mu'rab. I mean, when you go to the Quran, you can see so many examples of غير منصرف, which means they can only take two vowels, fatha and dhamma. That's it, not kasra. And those examples can be found as well. And then he says the i'rab of a noun is never a sukoon. Sukoon is not known as one of the vowels.
So in Ghair Munsarif, you can have only Dhamma
And fatha. That's right.
You have Dhamma and Kasra.
No, it's only dhamma and fatha. Kasra is not in the picture. Always these two vowels, fatha and dhamma. That's it. والحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآل محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. I think my students are downstairs are waiting. So can I go and then we can do tafsir in a minute?
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, the President على محمد وآل محمد.
اللهم صل على
محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. اللهم صل على محمد. Inshallah, we will be doing tafsir of Surah Al-Fatiha. This surah, as you know, in the Quran, some surahs they have one name and that's it. Some surahs they have more than one name. Some surahs they have three names. For example, we have Surah Al-Masad and then it's called Surah Al-Lahab as well. Or Surah Al-Dahr and then it's called Surah Al-Insan as well. Right? But this Surah Al-Fatiha has one of the most names in the Quran. It's one of the surahs in the Quran that has many names in the hadith of the Prophet. Now let's go to some of them before we come to the main name that has been given in the Quran. One of the names this surah is known of is called Al-Jaferia. That's one of the name of the surah. Al-Jaferia, the word comes from the word Shifa. Shifa means what? Cure. This surah is known as Shafia because it's one of the surahs, if you are sick and you read it, you will be fine. It cures people. That's when you go to in some of the du'as, like Imam Ali alayhi salam told us that if a person is sick, any part of your body is hurting, you're feeling pain, they say put your hand there and read Surah Al-Fatiha. And inshallah, you will feel better. Because Surah Al-Fatiha is known as Shifa, is the cure of all the sickness. And not only that, you know what hadith from the Prophet? The Prophet says that if somebody dies, and you read Surah Al-Fatiha for that person, and he comes back to life, he said, I wouldn't be surprised. That is how Fatiha is so powerful. That the Prophet says, it can bring somebody deceased back to life. And if that happens, don't be surprised, because Surah Al-Fatiha has that power. That is one of the names of Surah Al-Fatiha. That is number one. Number two, one of the names of this surah is called Al-Kafiyah. Al-Kafiyah, from the word Al-Kafi, means sufficient, enough. Meaning what? If you don't have any surah, but you have Surah Al-Fatiha, it's enough to take care of all your needs. Now, if in the fiqh, if a person wants to do the namaz, they don't know any surah except Surah Al-Fatiha, they can do the salat is fine. So Surah Al-Fatiha is what? Is sufficient even in namaz. Not only that, if a person doesn't have anything, but they only know Surah Al-Fatiha, they want to, somebody die, you want to read Surah Al-Fatiha, is enough. Somebody is need hajjah, you want to read Surah Al-Fatiha and then ask Allah, Surah Al-Fatiha is sufficient for everything. And that's what it's called, Al-Kafiyah. That is number two, one of the names. Number three is called also Ummul Kitab, the mother of the book. Meaning what? Meaning that if you go to the Quran, every single surah that is there in the Quran, right? Everything that every surah contains, Surah Al-Fatiha contains them too. Every surah, you go to Surah Al-Baqarah, you go to Surah Al-Imran, everything that is mentioned in every surah, every one of them, Allah took them little by little and then combined them in Surah Al-Fatiha. And that's what's called Ummul Kitab, the mother of the book. Because everything, every surah has, this Quran, this Surah Al-Fatiha has. And it's called Ummul Kitab, the mother of the book. That is number two. Number four, one of the name of this surah is called Al-Wafiyah. Al-Wafiyah is from the word Al-Wafa. Al-Wafiyah means what? From the word Wafa. Wafa means what? Takes care of your needs. You depend on it, and it will always be there to take care of you as well. Meaning what? If you have Surah Al-Fatiha and you have something to do, and you want to rely on Surah Al-Fatiha, because there are two types of relation. Sometimes you rely on somebody and then they put you down. Sometimes you rely on somebody, they're always there for you. Now one of the name of the Surah Al-Fatiha is Al-Wafiyah. That if you rely on Surah Al-Fatiha in everything, They say Surah Al-Fatiha will never ever put you down in anything. And that's why it's called Al-Wafiyah, because it's one of the surah that you can rely on and you have no problem with, nothing to worry about. That is number 3. Number 4. Number 5 is called Fatiha. Al-Fatiha from the word Fatah. Fatah means opening. See, in everything, there is something called key to something. Now, Surah Al-Fatiha, they call it Al-Fatiha, means by the opener. Meaning, if you want the rahmah of Allah, there is a key to it. There is door to it. Now, what's the door to the Surah, to the rahmah of Allah? It's Fatiha. Surah Al-Fatiha is the door of the rahmah of Allah. That's why I say, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Then you go, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. There is 4 times the rahmah of Allah is mentioned in this surah. That's why it's called Al-Fatiha, and it's all the one, everything that is in this, what you call Al-Fatiha is called Al-Fatiha because it's the key of the rahmah of Allah. That is number 5. Number 6, one of the names of this surah is called Sirrul Quran. Fatiha is known as the secrets of Quran. And you can hear this from the name, from the name of Imam Ali alayhi salam, where he said, Kullu sirril Quran maknunatun fil al-Fatiha. That when Allah created this Quran, every secret in all the surahs, Allah took it and placed it in only Surah Al-Fatiha. وَسِرُّ الْفَاتِحَةِ مَكْنُونَةٌ فِي الْبَسْمَةِ. And then the sir of the entire Surah Al-Fatiha, Allah placed it where? In the Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. And then the sir of Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Allah placed it where? In the first letter, which is the letter of Ba. And then the secret of Surah Al-Ba, or the Ba also, Allah placed it in the under the dot, under the Ba. And then the Imam Ali says, and I am the daughter of that God. That's why it's called Sirrul Quran. If you want to know the secret of the Quran, they all are placed in Surah Al-Fatiha. So it's called Sirrul Quran. If you have Fatiha, you have the keys to all the surahs. That's why it's called Sirrul Quran. And there are other names as well. Now, this surah is also contains so many things. Let's start. So inshallah, the rest of them inshallah we'll talk about it next week. But I will really encourage us that if we can at least, if we get a chance, 2 things. If we can read this surah, just the translation, and think about it. 1. If we cannot at least just take a look at this surah, just look at it. And then inshallah next week, we go into details if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us a lot. Yes?
Brother, we read this surah in April and May of 2010.